Mallory Smythe on behalf of Endow. So lately, what I've noticed in the culture is the rise of the anti-hero in our movies and our books and our media, or the rise of the villain story, where we see a villain and there's a backstory and now we feel sad for the villain who was evil in the original story to begin with. And it's almost as though we no longer believe in heroes. We no longer believe that heroes can be as good as they seem with nothing dark in the background. That people cannot be as virtuous as they seem without a skeleton that they're trying to hide. See, this Friday is the Solemnity of St. Peter and St. Paul. And these are two men that prove to us that heroes exist and heroes can still be made. These men were as good as they seemed. Even though they had pasts, they left those pasts behind and they chased after God at a crazy pace. And it was God who turned them into heroes by creating them as saints. And their work that was done years ago has echoed into eternity, bringing so many people to know Jesus, to know God, and to go on mission. And see, I wanted to look a little bit about St. Peter and St. Paul. I love that they're together because what they represent in the church actually cannot be separated. See, St. Peter became a hero whenever he professed who Jesus really was. Jesus said, "Who do you say that I am?" And St. Peter said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And he became the first pope of the Catholic Church, the church that has called out for generations, come and meet the Christ, the Son of the living God. Dive into this inheritance and you will know the Son of God, the Messiah. Right? And then St. Paul was a man on a mission. In the second reading this Friday, he says, "I have been poured out like a libation. I have given everything I have to go out to the world and proclaim Christ, the Son of the living God." See, St. Peter calls us in, and St. Paul commands that we go out. And these are two things that cannot be separated. We must dive into holiness and bring that out to the world. These are two men that became heroes by chasing after God. And see, I believe that we desire to know that heroes do exist. We know that there is a version of ourselves that we haven't quite hit. And that version of ourselves that looms somewhere out there is actually the call to holiness. It's a call that God wants to make us saints and therefore make us heroes for this world. And so in order to do that, we must know God and we must make him known. So I invite you to celebrate St. Peter and St. Paul, two major heroes of the Catholic faith, and to dive into the church, do an Endow study, learn the heart of the church and what Jesus left in his inheritance. At www.endowgroups.org, you can find more about our studies. You can connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Endow Groups, and you can connect with me at Mallory A. Smythe. Have a great day.